couple of days it's been really full. Maybe it's because coming back and from being gone, but also you guys are killing it. I mean, right now, just as far as the kind of production we're seeing that you guys are doing and considering the low inventory. So we've been talking a lot about taking advantage as much as you possibly can of the low inventory, you know, being competitive with your buyers, buyer strategies, and getting the deal, and controlling the listing, getting the listing. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that today. So a few things I want to cover today with you guys. Or I want to let you know, if you're not aware, we are the Golden Nuggets panel. Hang on, I'm just admitting everybody from the waiting room because I want to make sure that
sorry, I was going live on Facebook.
That's okay, no problem. You do that. I've got it too. So tomorrow we have our Golden Nuggets panel. So this is kind of a tradition, and we do this every time there's a conference like Family Reunion or Mega Camp, or we have a big event that not everybody attends because they're either working or they're doing other things, or some of you had trainings that conflicted, or you haven't just watched all of the videos yet. You have access and you're waiting for them to post things like the vision speech. So what we do is we get together with the people that attended Family Reunion, our agents, and we share our golden nuggets. So that's going to be our top takeaways, anywhere kind of from 1 to 3 takeaways, as much time as we have that we can put into like a 90-minute time frame. And I know some of you, everybody that I knew that attended received, which we had a list and a roster, you should have received, if you attended or you were registered, an email from Cheryl that basically invited you to be part of the panel and share your takeaways. Now, if you're on there tomorrow and you didn't RSVP, but you attended Family Reunion, you know, you can certainly share your takeaways as well. And the takeaways are, again, your top 3, 1 to 3 things that really impacted you. And then what your implementation strategy is. So like one thing you've done already or will be doing in 2021 to propel your business or life to the next level. And I say our life because, first of all, our business is tied to our life, right? It's a big part of our life. And 2, a lot of what was shared, one of my favorite sessions, which I posted in the Facebook group, was about wealth building and the 7 traps to building wealth. That was one. And then Don Harris mentioned another one he watched. And that is like, that's what a lot of this is about for us. When we talk about building a career worth having, a business worth owning, a life worth living, a legacy worth leaving, experience worth giving, that's our mission statement. That started me on that path about 5 years ago. Oh, I love it. Okay, patience, simplify, execute, clarity, positivity. Those are great, you guys. So this year, my word is prosperity. And one of the key components of that for me means to really focus on making sure that I have a very strong system in place for wealth building. I would say that I've had a loose system in place, and certainly I've made some progress towards that. However, not in the rate that I would like, and not with the kind of focus that I would like, and not where I'm participating in such a way that I'm bringing other people with me on the journey, because that's really important to me. And I know that one way you're able to really do that in your life is by helping other people get what they want. So for example, one of the specific action items we'll be doing this year, which involves you guys, those of you who want to participate, is I have a meeting with the Agent Leadership Council, the office, because I was gone and we weren't able to do our full retreat last month. We're going to be doing that in March. And one of the things we do with the Agent Leadership Council is we put together committees. And then those committees are very focused on whatever their topic is. So one of the committees we're introducing as a new committee this year is a wealth, I think we're going to call it the Financial Wealth Committee or Financial Wealth Building Committee, where the main purpose is to build wealth and net worth of the group. So it's not just making money, it's how do we build our net worth? How do we eliminate our debt? How do we really be wealthy from a financial perspective? And of course, not at the sake of the life part of it. However, what do we need to do to focus on that? So it'll include things like, we kind of started doing it and it wasn't really focused, I would say, or consistent. And we did build some good habits though. So the things that we're going to do on that, I'm sharing it with you because I really encourage you to attend these meetings when we have them, which will be approximately once a month. They may be more frequently. It's really going to be the group's decision once we get together, and we'll start doing that in April, probably in April. Yeah. So it'll be things like investment property, like Gary Keller and Jay Papasan's example was when Gary Keller formed his first financial wealth group. He didn't really know a lot. I mean, he was really young, but he wanted to learn as well. And so he brought in people, and every week they were meeting once a week. So for example, they focused a lot on real estate because we're in real estate. So it makes sense to do that. And it also helps us be better for our clients that are investors. And he taught them, he took a CCIM class, which is a commercial real estate class. And there's one class, well, several, but they teach you how to do what an APOD, which is essentially an investment analysis sheet. And I learned how to do that too when I used to work with a mortgage company. So what happened was he, as an assignment every week, had everybody do their own analysis of a property, a commercial property, residential. I mean, ideally it was like commercial related because you have to be able to, you could do the numbers on a residential or vacation rental, but we're not necessarily selling that to the client, right? But to just finding good investments and learning how to do that and analyze that is really critically important to being able to be a successful investor, right? It's the millionaire real estate investor model too. So that's one example. Another is, hey, does everybody have a SEP account, a self-employed retirement account, or a Roth IRA account, or things that are helping you minimize your tax liability as a vehicle, being independent contractors? We'll focus on insurance, which is, oh my gosh, like huge. So that would include, you know, whole life insurance, equity index, universal life policies. It would include term insurance policies. It would include long-term care insurance, which, as some of you know, is a huge hot button for me, especially considering my experience. So yeah, so I'm glad you guys are excited about it. I see some of your chat. So you will get, you know, after we have our ALC retreat, which is March, well, we're setting the date right now. It's either the latest it will be is March 18th. It sounds like March 18th or March 19th. So once we do that, we're going to be letting you guys know in these huddles and the team meetings, and we'll send out an email on the Friday email, and it will say, hey, everybody, okay, the committees are formed. This is what we're doing. Which committee would you like to be a part of or be a leader of? And which is, again, it's going to be a minimum of a monthly meeting. Most committees meet once a month. And the other committees are like, there's a growth committee, which actually focuses on like profit share, which is a component of wealth building. There's a financial planning committee. There's a luxury, there may be a commercial committee again. So anybody can chime in if I'm forgetting something. There's a career development committee. So anyway, we're going to get together and go through those things. Just wanted to put that out there. And again, the whole purpose of that conversation was a reminder to attend the Golden Nuggets panel. It's tomorrow at 2 p.m. There's a Zoom link in your intranet calendar. I mean, Latasha or Cheryl, if you want to share that in the, oh yeah, tech committee. Yes, thank you. If you want to share that in there, Robert, thank you. Of course, he's like tech. Yes, Robert, there's a tech committee. Register for that. I mean, make sure. And by the way, this is open. That Golden Nuggets panel, you can invite anybody to, other agents. I mean, you can invite, I'll go so far as to say, if you want to invite any other person that you know, like just have them come on, because it's going to be a lot of great information. Now, a lot of it's going to be related to real estate, but it's also related to life. So invite people to attend. Okay. I want to talk about an email that we got, just so you guys understand the conversation that was happening with the leadership that you guys were not involved in. And I wasn't. Honestly, you know, after family reunion, the announcement went out, which most of you may have seen, that there was a change in leadership with Keller Williams Realty International. And I've seen like articles published that is like all misinformation. And so I want to just tell you guys what's going on and kind of what the plan and strategy is with KWRI, which, by the way, this is not it was an abrupt change in that it happened quickly, but the process of it was not abrupt. It's part of the plan. So just so you guys if you don't know the history with KW, so what happens is every few years historically, Gary will put in the role of the president of the company who he wants to partner with that has specific talents and skills to get the company where it needs to go in the next typically 3 to 5 years. I mean, it can be as long as 5 years. It really depends on how long that process takes. And I'm going to give you a couple of examples. So when I came on board, John Davis was the president, and John Davis had introduced what he called the growth. The reason Gary brought him into the presidency was because he was very focused on growth. And at that time, that was really critical for the company to be able to grow. The goal was to be the largest real estate company in the world and real estate force of salespeople in the world. And so that he was the best person to get the company there. And he worked alongside with Gary to do that. And then once we achieved that, Gary wanted to pivot into, that's when that whole technology shift happened, where he's like, man, we need to really be focused on technology to survive. So we have a lot of agents, and now we need to service them and make sure that we can be the leader in tech. So what happened was Josh Team was already working for Keller Williams. They had hired him and a lot of other tech people to build Command and the tech platform. And so so what he decided to do was said, let's shift gears, because tech is the most important thing for us to focus on. Josh, I'm going to move you from the head of running the tech team and development team to the presidency. So again, we have a lot more visibility amongst the agents. They realize how important this is, and we can talk tech for the next 3 to 5 years, because that's where the industry is going and we're leading the charge. So that was the path. Now, what I understand and what Josh is going to do is, I believe he's going back. I know he's not doing anything with other real estate companies, but he's, I think we're just going back to where he was, which was the tech industry. That's what he spent his career life doing. And then, so Mark King, who is the new president of the company, and a big part of this too is Gary Keller creating these other holding companies, which are ancillary companies that help us provide additional services to our clients, like Keller Mortgage, Keller Covered, which isn't in Hawaii yet, but that's an homeowners insurance, and liability insurance. And then there's couple other more that are, coming. They have the partnership with the development company. So there's other things that allow us to provide services. So I believe Carl, who he brought on, is not the president, but he's going to be helping develop those ancillary companies to provide additional services for our agents and clients. And then Mark King, who I've known for years, he's actually been my #1 favorite leader in the company, other than, don't tell Tony Brody, our regional OP, that I said that. But Mark King, I met, he probably came to Hawaii. They got married on Maui. So I met him and his wife 4 years ago, maybe. I don't know if you guys remember that were here when he was here, but, and I sat down and had, just an hour conversation or an hour and a half conversation with that guy. And my mind exploded. I mean, like that was the most, what a growth building conversation I've ever had to this day. And so we've been in touch, and he's been really great and very supportive of our office. And so I'm stoked to see him in this role. He's earned it. He's an incredibly creative thinker. He's a really smart business person. And when you talk about somebody who's wealth built, this guy teaches wealth building. If you're a member of his group, he actually has a wealth building group. He's on at like 2 or 3 in the morning, because he lives in like, Missouri, I think. But to be able to have that kind of influence for us, for the company for the next few years, I think is a good benefit. So we'll see what happens. We'll see where it goes. I encourage you to just follow what he's doing, and let's see where that vision is. I know Gary talked about at Family Reunion that now what's happening with the company in terms of the vision is, and by the way, Mark has helped his own offices that he now owns. So one of his main focuses is what we're talking about with the wealth building group. Is one of his goals was to create, millionaires in terms of net worth of his agents and leadership within that office. And he created systems to do that. So I'm, again, inspired by what he's done. And we want to continue to do that. So there was one other thing I was going to mention. I'm seeing if anybody has any questions. Okay, so if anybody has any questions, put it in the chat box. I'll address it, but I just wanted to make sure that you kind of knew, what we're going to focus on. So Gary mentioned we're going to take a step back in the labs part of command, meaning that, we've always been, it's been exciting to be a part of growing this, and the agents have had a say in where the technology has gone and what they want and don't want in command. And now Gary said, okay, we're ready. We've built this out enough, and we're ahead of every other real estate company by, about 3 years, between 2.5 and 3 years. So we're ready to stabilize the platform and let you guys operate within it and utilize it to scale your businesses. So that's good. So I think the stability there in the technology, now they're going to continue to innovate and do a lot of stuff on the back end, but we're not all going to be involved in that process necessarily as agents. And then the wealth building, ancillary businesses, concierge services, providing a higher level of customer service to our agents. Those are some of the areas that we're going. The 3 models that I sent you guys an email about, which will be rolling out, which is KW My Way at the end of March. That is all tied into the next level of this company and the offerings that we have and the support that we have for you guys. So it's exciting. It's great. Yeah, Robert, reliability, focusing on reliability, stability, and growth and scalability. Okay, so a couple other things I wanted to talk about, and then I'll let Michelle if she has anything. One is, so all of you guys, when you join the company, you take a DISC assessment, which you guys have taken. Those of you in coaching, you've probably gone through them with your coaches, which is your general behavioral style, right? So if you've taken that, well, everybody should have taken it. If you've seen your DISC or gone through it with anybody, put in the chat box what your primary dominant style is. Is it a D, an I, an S, or a C? Let's see if we know. Okay, D, C, D, I, high D, great. Okay, so that is awesome, and it really helps you to know yourself. It helps us to know you and how best to work with you. And then it also helps you identify these characteristics in your clients, right? So how many of you do this with your clients? Now, not necessarily give them the DISC, but utilize what you know about the DISC in how you work with your clients. How many of you do that or have done that or have actually built questions around it? Stacy, Michelle, yes, I've used it for years. Yeah, Keone. So, right, it's incredibly valuable. So I encourage you to use that. One of the other things that we're going to be doing for you guys is some of you have taken a KPA, which is a Keller personality assessment. And you may have taken that if you are a rainmaker and you're building a team, or you've coached with me and we've gone through your KPA, you've coached with Colette and they've gone through your KPA, or your own coach, or you are somebody who's interested in joining a team, or an admin support role. So it's part of the process. Or you've taken career visioning, which is, by the way, coming up again in March, that teaches you about how to do the KPA and assess people and team build. So anybody who's hiring anybody, if you have another business and you're hiring people, like, this is a great assessment. So what we're going to do so that you understand it better and also but can benefit from it, everybody can benefit from it, we are going to go through and send them to you guys and have you guys take them. And then depending on where you're at in your business will be who you're going to do the KPA with. So if you're in the coaching program, and and actually, I don't know if Nicole's on. This is actually different news than what we talked. So Nicole and I had kind of discussed this, and then I had a conversation with Colette about it. So Nicole and I have an update. I think it's tonight. So Nicole, you haven't heard this yet, because I just talked to Colette about it yesterday. So surprise, we are going to actually have everybody do the KPA. And so if they are in the coaching program, yeah, okay, good, you're excited. it will be time consuming for everybody, and it will be worth it because it's so valuable to go through this process. So your coach will be doing the validation with you if you're in the coaching program. If you are not in coaching and you're under Stacy's purview, so Stacy is the director of agent relations, kind of is the coach now for anybody who's probably at a production level of approximately, and Stacy has a list, so she'll reach out to all of you. She's probably reached out to some of you already, of about 2.5 million to 5 million or 6 million. That range is going to be Stacy, unless you're on the Big Island, and then most likely it will be Andy if you're Kona side, or Rochelle if you're Hilo side, and to go through this with you. And then if you're in the top 20% in production in the office, and I'm your coach, we will be going through the KPA if we haven't done that already. I've done that with a lot of you. So we're going to send that out to you, the link. I'm going to talk about it on our executive team meeting today. So we'll get the timing down on that. I just wanted to give you guys a heads up so you know what it is and to take it and how valuable it is. Okay. It's really, really a cool process. It's kind of like the disc on steroids. It's like a deep dive, and it really is super cool. And it reinforces like whatever direction you're in. Yeah. Questions?
No, just wanted to make sure that if you are a mid-level agent, even though you fall under Stacy and you have a coach, then the coach is going to go through your KPA with you. So just so you know. And by the way, the business planning foundations that are coming up that are generally only for the agents in the productivity coaching program, the very first class is going through the DISC. So I am willing to open that class open to everybody. If anybody wants to be a part of that class and you're not in productivity coaching, reach out to me, and I'll give you an invite to that first class. And it's very cool to go through it as a group because you will see the other personalities of the DISC show up.
Yeah. So that's business. What's it called in the calendar?
It's the Business Planning Foundations. I don't even think it goes in the calendar because it's only by invite only or productivity coaching, because it's an exclusive class.
Okay. I mean, if you want to put the link in the chat, because all these guys are invited, let's maybe do that, or we can, if you have it, or they can just reach out to you. So put your email in there. So those agents who don't know you can find you. Thank you.
Cool.
Okay. I wanted to read you a quote that I saw that a top agent had said, or actually she said it. It was in our regional mastermind monthly thing that we do now with Northern California and Hawaii. It was Natalie, I think Swanson. She is out of our Livermore office in Northern California. And this agent owns the market share in Livermore. She's 2.5 times above the next agent in their market in terms of market share. So, she knows what she's doing. And one thing she said was, when you have a referral business, you are ahead of the lead. She said, quote, ahead of the lead. When you have a referral business, you're ahead of the lead. What does that mean to you? I thought it was very profound. I loved it. So I want to know what that means to you. When you have a referral business, you are ahead of the lead. Yes, Michelle.
To me, it means that you have leveraged passive income, because referral is a one-time short action that you take, and then the other agent goes off with it and completes the transaction. And then at some predictable time, usually 90 to 150 days out, that referral check will come back to you. So even though it's a referral, if it's a hot, ready to go referral, you can have a predictive course of income, and it's leveraging other people for you. And your referrals do not have to be at 25%. I just did one for another agent on the mainland at 30%. I saw one of our agents did one yesterday for 50%. So it's a way to leverage yourself if you're not yet ready to also build a team, but still be leveraging and building additional income.
Okay, I so love the way that you looked at that. I'm so glad I asked this question, because we were talking about, she was actually talking, that's so cool, Michelle. She was actually talking about building a referral business, meaning that's where your primary source of business comes from. Referrals with her database, like repeat and referral business for her clients. I love that, though, with the idea that expands be on your market, right?
Correct.
So, because you're right, some agents just do referrals and focus on that with other agents, and they build a business that way and they can leverage. So I love the way that you saw that. Anyone else? So how do you see it if you're talking about where your business comes from and it's client referral based? What does that mean, being ahead of the lead?
Referrals are warmer. It's faster to establish trust, especially if it's a good warm referral. You know, sometimes people send me a referral and I got to work for it. Then it's a little tougher. But if it's really a nice warm up, it's faster, right?
Yes. So absolutely. It's faster. Your conversion rates are higher. And do you have to now go proactively? I mean, you maybe proactively have a system to get referrals through your sphere, but do you have to go get another lead? Like, do you have to go buy a lead, have a cold lead that you have to spend, like Steve's saying, months or years converting? So you're ahead of it because now I don't have to go come up with a system to grab another lead. It's already there. I have it. It's in my database. I'm ahead of it because I don't have to go generate a new one, right? That's part of what I gathered from it. Stacy, did you want to say anything else?
I do. It's a testament to how you've done business with that person that's giving you that referral. And therefore you didn't have to buy it, right? It was based on your activities that you've done consistently.
Yes, and what happens is it becomes like automated, right? So what she does is it's a system, like it's like turning on a funnel or a lever, that once you have your systems in place with your people and your sphere and that whole process of getting referrals from them, it just happens. It's like magic, or who says automagically? Was that you, Robert? I don't know. That was a word. Zach Younger says that automagically happens, right? You just get it. You're ahead of it because you actually never even had to go out and generate. I mean, you set up the systems for it, but now it's just coming to you. It's coming to you. It's coming to you. Okay.
I was gonna chime in on that, Lisa, and say, you know, the
Yes.
referrals piece in command is really strong with the referral patterns. Michelle Del Rosario just mentioned it. If you're not in there and you're not looking at it, time block some time to get into command and look at the referral patterns and network in there, because that can turn into huge auxiliary funnel type business, right?
Yes, thank you, Robert. I love the migration patterns. Like, that stuff is cool. And I actually used that with somebody that like a really big potential client for our office. I actually used that. I talked to them about the migration patterns and they were blown away. They were like, what? Like, what agent that they're going on a listing presentation with is telling them that they study the migration patterns of buyers and sellers in and out of Hawaii, so they know where to market to when you're going to take their listing? Like, right? So we actually have the ability to do that and study the migration patterns, and we can utilize that for referral business of where we see buyers and sellers coming from. Like, that's who you should buddy up with, agents in that area. Okay.
Not to go down a rabbit hole on that, but even if you're looking at migration patterns, a little bit of a rabbit hole. If you look at the migration patterns, you might be able to figure out where to send Facebook ads to. And
yes.
You know, so that's a good thing to do too, right?
Yeah, absolutely, Robert. Thank you for that. Yeah, that is a strategy that some of the agents are using, and it makes sense because now I'm spending $1. By the way, what is the average price per lead for Facebook through Keller Williams? Do you guys remember from Family Reunion if you were on that?
$1.98.
$1.91. Yeah, $1.91 per lead. So now I know where to spend my $1.91. If I'm going to try to get a lead, it makes more sense to target that market where the migration patterns are, right, where they're coming from. So I love that.
I've got a quick comment.
Yes, Don.
So getting back to referrals from your clients, I've heard, and I'm not sure, but I've heard that the weekly Ninja Selling workshop covers exactly how to do that. And it's focused on creating client experiences that cause people to refer other people to you. Matter of fact, we got referred a client from another KW agent. We're working with him currently, and he just referred another client to us, and he hasn't even finished the transaction yet. We haven't even put in an offer yet, and he's sending us referrals.
That is so fantastic. Don, thank you for that. Yes, you're right. Don's a master. Like, he's really good at this. So, and he teaches the Ninja Selling training, which he's doing every week. So that's in your calendar too. And it is a great, I mean, you're right. You're teaching them ninja selling. If you really want to learn how to do that and grow a business of referrals that are warm, like what Steve was talking about, that is a great training to do that. I mean, in Ignite, you are learning, that's a portion of what you're learning. You're learning a lot of other strategies in addition to that. And Ninja is a very, it's very complementary to what you're learning. And it's a way to really deepen that opportunity to touch your clients in a way that is going to encourage them and train them and teach them how to refer business to you. Okay, so Stacy's saying business planning class, be on the lookout for a time and date, exclusive to KW agents. Oh, business planning, the MREA, which class is that? Who's teaching that?
With Nicole.
The one that you were talking about.
Right, Nicole?
Yes.
Oh,
mine.
okay. Got it.
If you guys haven't read this book yet, you really need to get into it.
Yeah, read it 10 times, right? That's the Gary advice. Okay, Steve says referrals are warmer, trust is established. Stacy says referral partners. Yep. Steve says MREA ratios, millionaire real estate agent referrals, your database is 12 to 2. So yeah, again, the conversion rate is higher, more than double what you're going to be doing if you go out there and have somebody new. Now, some of you have to build your database because you might not have as many contacts yet. So you're doing that every day as well. Stacy says, oh, if you're not sure what migration patterns means, ask, right? So that's where buyers and sellers are coming from and going to. So if you do a migration pattern in your command from outgoing, you look outgoing from Maui, Kahului, for example, it's going to show you where all of the referrals are going to in the country. So people that are here, we are sending referrals to Northern San Francisco or Texas or I'm just counting the ones that are coming in because I know the ones that are coming in, but wherever, Arizona. Colorado. So you start to see where we send, and then you can look and do it the opposite way. So you say where are referrals coming from, or where are we seeing buyers come from the mainland into Hawaii. And then you'll see the most common areas and states. Thank you for that. Sometimes I just assume everybody knows. Okay, and then some testimonials for ninja selling. So, by the way, that woman, Natalie, also took bold like 8 times, which I don't know when that's going to happen again. We'll have to see. I wanted to address the conversations about Zillow as well that are happening on Facebook. Who has seen, if you've been on Facebook at all, you've probably seen. So how many of you have seen somebody mention something about Zillow and or the acquisition of Showing Time and or how this may or may not affect our industry? Anybody? Yeah, okay. So I wanted to address it because I want to advise you to be careful. Was one of the main reasons I want to address it. I want to remind you because I've seen other agents from other companies, discussions and like lab coat agents, real estate mastermind groups. I've seen some other KW agents and even leadership, which I've sent them messages about because that's how I roll, to be careful of what you say about this. Zillow is a brokerage. They are licensed now. They weren't always, right? They weren't always a licensed brokerage, but they've been for a while and they're in most states, and it doesn't matter even if they're not in Hawaii, they're in other states. So what happens when so if they were a tech company and not a brokerage versus being a brokerage, when they became a brokerage or because they are a brokerage, what does that mean for us in terms of what we can and cannot say or do in regard to having conversations about them in a public or private forum? What does that change?
They're members of the National Association, which means they are just like us. You can't talk bad about your competitor.
Ethics.
Yeah. So, and Nicole says no smack talk. Bob says no, now code of ethics applies. Yes. So, and not just the code of ethics. So say they're not a member of NAR, and I don't know if they are actually, I honestly don't even know if they're a member of NAR. If they are a member of NAR, then the code of ethics applies for sure. If they're not a member of NAR, what still applies? This is like your real estate school 101, which is the same thing about no smack talk. It's just a different level of potential punishment, which is through the Department of Justice, which is antitrust, right? So if you don't remember from your real estate school, it's the same, along the same lines. No smack talk. You have to be, we can't. So antitrust involves what you say about people, whether it's disparaging or if there is what is called a boycott. If you have more than one, so say a brokerage on lab coat agents, some agent from another brokerage, a Coldwell Banker agent says, you know, Zillow, it sucks and we should just fight them and nobody should use them or, you know, work with them or whatever. And another agent from another company chimes in and agrees with that. What's just happened? Is that against the law?
It's a violation of the Sherman Antitrust Act.
Thank you, Keone Ball, who's a pre-licensing instructor. So it's against the law, you guys, and there are hefty penalties for that. That's not just you're going to lose your license. So be careful, be aware. Now, don't go and be like a troll. You don't have to go be a troll on everybody's post and be like antitrust, 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 you know. But, you know, you could, you know, educate or just type that in, but then you're going to be like on the whole thread. But I'm just telling you, don't do it, right? We want to make sure you guys don't participate in that. And even on a local level. So if this conversation happens on a local level, which it does, and it is happening, and I encourage the conversation to happen in regard to how it affects our real estate industry as a whole, from a technology standpoint, from what Zillow is doing, but it has to be factual and not opinionated and not we're doing anything against them or boycotting. And it's going to be a tough one because we do need to have a conversation at like our local board level regarding, which Gary touched on, data, right? MLS data. And sharing that, because now they are actually a competitor now. And so when you think about them as a competitor, the conversations that can happen, which again, we might have to talk to an attorney, like, I don't think this falls under antitrust or boycotting, but the idea is, do we want to share data with them? Do we want to pay them for leads or do that? Because that's like saying, say you're Netflix. Okay, I'm just going to use a Netflix Blockbuster example because it's a good one, right? Because Blockbuster doesn't exist anymore. They didn't join the platform revolution and do what Netflix did, and Netflix took over. But that's like Netflix coming to Blockbuster saying, okay, I'm gonna oh wait, I took a note. Hang on. I think I like wrote this down. Oh, it's like, okay, so it's not like Netflix went to Blockbuster and said, hey, I'm happy to help you by promoting your movie inventory. Just pay me $1 a movie and we'll be partners for life. I promise. Right. So it's us going. So Zillow said to the agents, I'm going to, yeah, Steve, I'll talk about that. So that's like Zillow saying, hey, and they weren't a brokerage before. And even when they were saying to agents, look, we just want to partner with you and help give you leads. And then they said, and then we'll help you convert the leads, and then we'll help create iBuyer programs. And so then what happens is, but they never say, and they might say at that time, look, we don't want to compete with you. We don't want to compete with you, but we're going to partner with you. We're going to take all the information of the data. We're going to control it. We're going to control the lead and potentially the future business for you, right? Based on that data. Michelle.